In this video, you're going to learn how to use an instrument called the Vernier Caliper. The Vernier Caliper is used to measure the outer width or the outer length of an object. It's also used to measure the inner length or inner width of an object. To use a Vernier Caliper, you have to use this dial. And this dial will open up the big set of jaws, and it will also open up the little set of jaws. So by turning the dial, you can measure, the outer length or outer width using the big jaws, or you can use the little jaws to measure the inner width or inner length of an object. So if I want to measure the outer width or diameter of this pipe, how would I do that? I would take my Vernier Caliper, I would turn the dial to open up the larger jaws as wide as possible. Then I would take the pipe and I would close the jaws by turning the dial until the dial doesn't turn anymore, and that's how you measure the outer width. If I wanted to measure the diameter of the head of the femur, how would I do this? I would use the outer jaw. Again, I would turn the dial, and then I would completely surround the outer jaw around the head of the femur until the jaw closes. And that's how you would measure the head of the femur. Now let's say I wanted to measure the inner width of the pipe. What would I do? I would use the smaller jaws of the Vernier Caliper, and this time I would twist the dial until the smaller jaws of the Vernier Caliper fit the inner width of the pipe. And again, you would read the Vernier Caliper. What if I wanted to measure the inner width of the orbit? Again, I would take the inner jaw and I would open up the Vernier Caliper until I got the inner width of the orbit.
Most Vernier calipers purchased in the United States give readings in both inches and centimeters. As always in physics, we will work with metric units. Like a meter stick, the Vernier caliper is calibrated in centimeters with the minor or smallest divisions in millimeters. However, unlike a meter stick, the Vernier caliper allows the fractional part of the smallest division to be accurately determined, not merely estimated. Using the Vernier caliper to measure the length of an object is not as difficult as it may appear. The first line on the movable vernier scale is called the zero mark. To make a reading, note where the zero mark on the movable scale falls on the main scale. In this example, the zero mark falls between the 6th and 7th major divisions on the main scale, so we know the reading will be between 6 and 7 centimeters. If we study the caliper more closely, we see that the zero mark on the movable scale also falls between the 3rd and 4th minor divisions. Therefore, the reading will be between 6.3 and 6.4 centimeters. To accurately determine the fractional part of the smallest division, you must decide which line on the movable scale coincides with the mark on the main scale. Here you can see the second line on the movable scale matches a line on the main scale, so the fractional part of the smallest division is 0.02 centimeters. Therefore, the length is measured to be 6.32 centimeters. Try to determine the length of the aluminum block yourself. Here is the vernier reading as measured by one of our students. If you determined that the length is 3.29 centimeters, then you were correct. If you recorded the length to be 3.28 or 3.30 centimeters, replay the video and closely observe that it is only the 9th line of the auxiliary scale which matches exactly with the division on the main scale. Therefore, the reading is 3.29 centimeters.